What's going on, boxing fans? Julian Williams here at the distance. Just got done watching this Paul Williams versus Kermit Cintron fight. Just ended with Kermit Cintron leaving in the ambulance. Hopefully everything is okay with Kermit Cintron, but the fight was only like three rounds and partially a fourth round. And Cintron fell out of the ring. Actually, it ended with both fighters falling down. Paul Williams fell down within the ring, and Cintron went through the ropes. And the fight ended prematurely due to Cintron now being taken to a hospital. But overall, what I have to say about the fight, I did have the fight scored. I scored the fight 2-1 for Paul Williams, and if I go to a fourth round, then so far Paul Williams was winning that fourth round because Paul Williams started to pour it on in that round. But anyway, onto the fight. Kermit Cintron was. I had the first round. First round I gave to Kermit Cintron because he was countering very well and he was moving very well within the fight. And he countered Williams coming inside, and that's really what Cintron needed to do was counter Williams coming in, and he did a good job of countering Williams coming on the inside. And then in the second round, Williams started to throw a little more punches, but at the same time, Cintron kept his range, and he moved, to his right. And the right is where Cintron carries all of his power. So, really the second round is a bit debatable. You can debate who won that round. It was a close round. I gave it to Williams because Williams was a little busier in that round. But overall, I did give that round to Paul Williams because he was busier, and Cintron, and I think Cintron didn't counter as much in that round. And in the third round, I gave that round to Williams because he was the busier fighter. Cintron started to counter less, but in the first round, Cintron countered very well. Second round he countered well, but it started to kind of go down. In the third round, he countered okay, but it started to go down. And as time went by and time progressed, Paul Williams continued to come forward, and he continued pressuring Cintron, and he continued throwing punches, and then he started to really pour it on. And in the fourth round, that ring got smaller and tighter, and that space got tighter for Kermit Cintron. And Paul Williams was starting to kind of zero in, which is in the fourth round is really the round that Williams starts to pour it on and zero in, and then he starts to throw all kinds of punches. He wasn't throwing 100 punches per round, but Williams was starting to pour it on, and it looked like in the fourth round that Williams was beginning to start to throw, and he was starting to let the hands go a little bit more so than the other rounds. And so if I have to score the fourth round, I'm gonna give it to Williams. So, but I scored it, 2 rounds 1. But if you add the fourth round to it, then it was 3 rounds to 1. But at the same time, I could see a draw and whatever. But hopefully Kermit Cintron's all right. Hopefully he didn't fake an injury. I was talking on the phone and I got a couple text messages. Some people thinking he faked the injury, saying Cintron's a pussy, this, that, and the other, whatever. But overall, this match, the ending of this match warrants a rematch. We all are gonna want a rematch to this fight because it didn't end the way that we all wanted it to end, and it was a split decision. Personally, I thought that it could either been a draw or it could have been a decision for Williams. On my card, it's a decision for Williams, but it could be a draw. That's just how I look at it. And pretty much based on countering. But I see that Williams only, was starting to throw like 80 more punches. He was busier. He was a little more effective. And I think I'm looking at the punch stats right now. I don't really go on punch stats. I really go on box ability and ring aggression and ring generalship. I see Paul Williams only landed, 1 more power punch than Kermit Cintron. And a majority of Williams' punches are counter shot. Not necessarily. Power shots. The majority of his punches are, and it doesn't really work off the jab as much as he should. But in this fight, you know, Cintron was doing a good job keeping his range, keeping his space moving. But Williams started to zero in and started to pressure a little bit more. And in the later rounds, I think in the later rounds, Williams would have taken advantage of that. But overall, this warrants a rematch. This is my opinion. I think it warrants a rematch. Everybody's gonna want to see the rematch to this. So not only does this postpone a possible rematch with Sergio Martinez or a possible fight with Kelly Pavlik, you know, this I think this is a fight that should happen later this year, or when Kermit Cintron heals from his injury. You know, something that I do believe though is I think that the Kermit Cintron being carried out on a stretcher, if his injuries aren't serious, then I think it's a little too much. You know, and at the same time, taking consideration that this was a round that Williams started to really pour it on, and I think he was starting to find his rhythm and find, you know, when his punches were starting to, you know, find Cintron from all different angles. But overall, I can't tell you whether it was a good fight or not because it wasn't necessarily a full complete fight. There was no knockout, and the fight just wasn't too long. It wasn't long enough to determine what kind of fight it would have been, but it was having the makings to be a really good fight as it was going on. But I have it Williams. I have it 3 rounds 1 Williams or 2 rounds 1 Williams. So anyway, that was the distance. Thanks for watching. Peace.